Hi, my name's Deborah Carr and I write historical fiction for HarperCollins One More Chapter division. I also write contemporary romance series for Boldwood Books as Georgina Troy. I thought I'd talk today about writing that book, just sort of getting it down. I spent the first part of my writing career, I suppose, before it was published, either self-published or traditionally published, and I took 4 years to write my first book. And even my second and third and probably fourth book, which I also self-published, I used to write my word count for the day. The next day I go back and edit it. And I know some people do that. I think with each book I've written, I've learnt different things about myself, and also I think honed much better what works for me. So whereas I think it's actually a great idea to write your daily word count and go back the next day and edit what you've done before you then get on with that day's word count. I know a lot of very big best-selling authors do the same thing. But I find that actually what works for me best now is to sit down and just get the words down. And so what I do is, I do have an outline at the beginning. I send an outline to my publisher, either one, about the book that I want to write. You know, I detail my characters and the backstory and what happens and the ending. And so I actually know vaguely what I want to happen, and I send it off, and then my publisher will maybe come back with some ideas or bits they don't like, which I have to tweak or change or whatever. But when I start a book, I know what I want to write to a certain extent. Different things sort of come up, different things occur to me as I write, and I'll put those in or change them or whatever. But whatever I need to do accordingly. But what I do now is I sit down and I write my daily word count, and I keep going until I'm at the end of the book, the end of that first draft, and then I leave it. They do suggest that you leave your book for about 6 weeks to be able to then come back and sit with fresh eyes and see what's wrong with it. I can only do that sort of thing if I finished a book early and way before my deadline, and also if I don't have anything going on. So if I have edits for another book to work on, then I can obviously do that. If I don't, then I probably manage to leave it a couple of days and I get back to it. So I think the most important thing for new authors to realise is there are no fixed rules. You've got to find out what works best for you and go for it. I wasted months, probably years, trying to work out the best way to set out a book. What's the best font, and how big should the paragraphs be, and that sort of thing. And basically, should I write in first or third person, or lots and lots of different things. So I now realise it doesn't actually matter as long as the font is one of the usual acceptable ones like Calibri or Times New Roman or Arial, whatever. It doesn't matter as long as the person you send it to can actually read it and it's not going to tire their eyes too much. Just get it down. So now what I do once I have that outline is I sit down and I just write down my word count, and I have a list of my word count list that I have for myself, but I also have my notebooks. I have lots and lots of notebooks and I love them. Any excuse to buy a notebook and I'll be there. So for example, for this one, this is the one I'm working on now. I'm up to 15,500 words. So I put the date, I put the words written that day, and then I have a running total. And that's how I keep track of it, really. And that encourages me each day. I want to see that word count increase, that total word count increase. And that's how I actually do it. And then, as I say, at the end, I'll then go through it and I will read through the entire book. I will add a bit more depth. I will change anything as it needs changing, take out bits that don't quite fit because the ending might be slightly different, or add things in, add in more depth with probably description or your different senses if I miss that sort of, if I've missed that sort of thing. And I work out if it's from different points of view, which point of view, are they balanced, the points of view? Should there be more of one than the other, or do I need more for a different character or whatever? And that's the way I do it. And then I send it off to my publisher. So again, notebooks and finding your own way to how to do this. This weekend I'm going to be a guest speaker at a good friend of mine. She's holding a workshop, Gwyn Bennett. She recently signed a multi-book deal with Storm Publishing, a wonderful new publisher that I know will do well. It's got really good people behind it. And she's holding a workshop for local authors over here in Jersey on the island. And she's going to be talking about self-publishing and traditional publishing, and I'll be answering lots of questions from her about my own publishing route and basically how I work, and any sort of advice I might have for these probably newer authors maybe. So that's what I'm doing. It's really exciting. What are you doing? Are you having a good time? Are you writing that book, or are you thinking about writing your book, or are you planning on writing a book? If you have any questions, I'd be very happy to answer them. Please leave them in the comments below. And if you aren't already subscribed to my channel, would like to keep up to date with my weekly videos, please click on the subscribe button below. I'd be delighted if you did. It always increases the sort of visibility of my channel and helps other people find it. So thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to chatting again next time.